Now, because y'all liked my mags versus alphas comparison so much, I thought we'd come back and do it again, and this time do a little bit of voiceover commentary on the two runs. So instead of doing the alphas again, I brought the cheetahs out to this hill, and I was pretty impressed. So let's sit quietly, watch the runs, and then let's come back and evaluate. I really wanted to hold my arms in the tuck there, but once again, got caught. Notice the timing here is almost the exact same, except I hold it a little bit longer. The slide, I hold this slide a little longer on the cheetahs. You'll notice I gripped it on the mags, but I had a little pre-drift on the cheetahs. Great line on the mags, but you see my form really starts to collapse exiting this turn on the cheetahs. And final straight, it's clear that the mags are ahead, getting through these turns a lot faster. And then not too much to review on the shutdown there, so let's run it back to the top and start to look at a couple things. First things first is I think I pushed in a little bit harder on the cheetahs than I did the mags. My arms broke there from my tuck on the cheetahs because I actually tuck leaned so hard that the wheels lost traction. That was happening with every wheel that I was using there, including when I filmed this. These are actually filmed a few weeks apart. The top run is filmed at the beginning of March and the bottom run is filmed at the end of March. You'll see that entering this turn, the slide starts at the exact same time, except it looks like on the mags I'm sliding a little bit later just based on the hedge on the side. You know, with different cameras, I used a Hero 7 silver on top and like a Hero 8 or a Hero 9 black on the bottom. It's a little hard to tell sometimes with the different perspective, the different distance from the follow car, but it is pretty cool to me that these runs are so synchronized at this point in time. The cheetahs, I started my slide a little earlier and a little closer to the middle of the road. That's not because the wheels were different, but that's just because I had more experience at this point. By the time I was skating the cheetahs, I got a lot more fast downhill runs on this road to get me comfortable, to get me used to the lines, and to start making improvements. One of the big improvements I wanted to make was this line entering. I knew that I was doing the braking line a little too far to the outside on this left sweeper, and that I could be drifting more down the middle of the road so that when I hook up, I have a better line into the right. I don't have to like cross the road to get to the outside and then back again to the inside. That loses a lot of time. So we'll see that the mags I hook up a little bit earlier. You can see the board isn't as straight. And as a matter of fact, I'm kind of hooking up in the same place on the road. Cheetahs are actually a little bit closer to the middle. I felt like the cheetahs had more braking force than the mags. I was really impressed by the cornering and the braking force I got out of these wheels. You know, not the same weather, not the same temperature, pretty close in temperature. I think the cheetahs actually had a hotter surface. Yeah, the cheetahs were feeling really good at this point coming into this slide. Actually, at this point, I was pretty confident that it was, game over. I thought this bottom cheetahs run was definitely going to be faster, but we actually had a headwind that day. So the headwind on the main straight and then the headwind on the bottom straight really killed the bottom run. So let's see how I take this corner. Mags, I get in there really fast and I'm scrubbing through the toe side grip. Let's pause it. In the top run, because I enter the corner so fast, I get to this crack in the road sooner than I do on the bottom run. But on the bottom run, I didn't scrub or go as deep. I took a far better line. And so I'm going to get a better exit on the follow. Even though I'm a little bit behind at that point in the turn, I'm taking a more inside line that, you know, is a little cleaner. I get to take a better approach into this left. And because I did it so cleanly, I also get to go into a tuck. And you'll notice that in the top run, I don't tuck at all. That's also due to the fact that if you look in the top run, my back foot jumps across the board. It goes from that toe side rail to the middle of the board, and that's super interesting. And the bottom one doesn't do that, and that's because from this run specifically, I decided that I was going to add a small torque block, a small polyurethane prototype downhill torque block underneath my back toe, just to give me a little bit more cupping, a little bit of insurance for when I do hit bumps and cracks. The Rocket Concave, those huge wheel flares, are awesome for, you know, your heel side slides, giving you something to really push into and lock in against. But they do kind of work against you in your toe side corners and toe side slides. So adding a little bit of torque block there really makes a nice pocket for my back toe. Super confidence inspiring, and it really paid off. You can see I'm rock solid through that turn. Yeah, so the Cheetahs I'm going a little bit slower, but I know that's how I'm going to get a cleaner line through here. And you can see it pays off with a tuck. Now I do a little pre-drift going into this left, and that's just because even though I gripped it a month earlier with less experience, having more experience on this road, and you know, I was entering that corner with more speed than I was in the top run. I knew that doing a little drift there was going to really increase my probability of getting a clean run. And a lot of runs that I did before, trying to grip that turn was kind of like a 50-50, and I didn't want to take that chance with the follow car. I'm not worried about falling in front of the follow car, but you know, it takes a homie to take time out of their day, time out of their skating in order to film me. It's very hard on the car, on the brakes, on the engine. And so I decided we're just going to take a reliable line so we don't have to reshoot this. And that's why I threw the teeny tiny pre-drift. Now I do take a better line through the corner as a result, as in I get more inside, but the farther inside you go on this corner, the steeper it is. So you actually lose a little bit more grip than if you stay a little bit farther outside. And I think that's how I was able to get such a clean line on the mags. Really use the whole road. And the mags get the exit speed advantage as a result. So if we were to do a comparison from like the beginning into the slide, this is about identical. There was a headwind, and I think the bottom was a little bit slower, but I think I pushed in a little faster at the top. So from this point to this point, they are pretty evenly matched. And now from this point to this point, I did better lines on the Cheetahs and set myself up better, even though at this point I'm getting ever so slightly behind. I think that I made better runs between this drift through this hairpin and then setting up into this corner. Now I exit this turn with a little less speed than the top run, and it shows because I get in the top run to this little pink spray painted marker on the side of the road. I get there faster than I do in the bottom run, but you can see in both runs I actually initiate my slide at that point. The bottom run is really far away, so you guys won't be able to see it, but I have zoomed in and checked, and it is also where I start the slide. Now here's an interesting thing. My technique really was almost perfect in the top run and a little flawed in the bottom run. This is something I've been working on lately with my toe side technique, is not snapping the board from the drift back to straight. That feels really good. It looks really cool when you get that snappy hookup, but in practice, it doesn't allow you to really reliably predict the line that you're going to get through the road. And what I do really well in the top mags run is easing from the drift back into gripping by slowly lowering, decreasing the angle of the slide. And that gives me a really nice entrance into the corner, and it gives me a really, really clean line that gets really inside. If you watch the bottom run, we'll rewatch this section twice so you can pay attention to the mags first and then pay attention to the Cheetahs. If you watch the Cheetahs, I snap out of the slide a lot more. So you see on top those mags, I really ease out of the slide, and it really sets me up nicely for the corner. I get a good idea of what my grip level is. But on the Cheetahs, on the bottom, even though taking a similar braking line and the wheels have similar grip, I snap that board back and then I immediately lose the line. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I also have less speed, or more speed as a result. So I have to go wider and I have to spend the rest of the turn kind of scrubbing. That's what you can't tell from this video, is in the top run on the mags, I'm basically gripping as soon as I stop that slide. I'm, find my line, I grip it, I don't have to overload the wheels anymore. And the bottom line on the Cheetahs, at this point I know I have too much speed, I'm going too wide, so I'm slowly scrubbing the wheels and trying my best not to go off the road. And so as a result of that less clean line, I don't get good exit speed onto this final straight. And then also the headwind on this final straight really killed the run. And so the mags get far ahead. Yeah, it's super interesting. I find it so much fun to compare these runs back to back. I've been spending, fucking hours watching these, and it's really cool. And without, me doing this commentary, giving you this insight, it's hard to tell which run is better. I feel like people would watch these and be like, oh, the mags are better. He got a faster run. He gripped the corner. He got a better toe side line. But on the day, I really, really like these Cheetahs a lot more. And just because I didn't get as clean a bottom section, doing the drift here, and then getting a slightly worse bottom right hairpin, I think if I were to race this road again, I would do it on the Cheetahs. I've got a fresh set of Cheetahs just for this track. I'm very, very excited to try out the 85A. These are the softer Cheetahs and perhaps more versatile. When I did my video about these, I said, they're a pretty niche wheel. There's limited circumstances where I would choose this over another wheel. Frankly, after skating a few more products, having a little bit more time, these are really evenly matched with these, which are evenly matched with these. And you're not going to go too wrong no matter what way you go. Just pick the gear that's going to feel best under your feet. If you want really forgiving wheels, really forgiving slide without really compromising too much of anything, you get the mags. If you want a lot of slide angle control and to do a little bit of free ride, I think that you get the alphas. And if you don't want to do any free ride, but you want a wheel that's going to be really planted and give you a ton of braking force, I think you get the Cheetahs. But you can't go wrong with any of these. And I'm pretty sure when I race this track in May, no matter what wheel I have under my board, I think I'm going to finish on the podium in the same exact place. I don't think the wheel is going to make the difference at the end of the day when I'm doing race heats. So maybe we film a vlog that day. Maybe we talk about my race heats and film some POV stuff. Really excited to share that with you and to see if this testing on all these wheels and these practice laps on this road really pays off. But in the meantime, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram to keep up with, whatever gear I'm riding in the moment. Here on YouTube, you just see snippets of what I'm riding here and there. On Instagram, you can get like sneak peeks as to what wheels are next in the review lineup, or what boards or trucks I'm trying at any given moment. I actually have some Ronins on my board right now. I don't own them, I'm borrowing them, but I think I will be dropping a micro review for the Ronins. We will see, but I appreciate you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.